News.
And welcome into 13 Action News this morning. We begin with breaking news from overnight. Israeli forces say they've recovered the bodies of 6 hostages in a rescue operation in Gaza. Among those recovered, a 23-year-old Israeli American who's become one of the most recognizable faces of this ongoing hostage crisis. Something else breaking from overnight, the Russian Ministry of Defense says air defenses intercepted and destroyed 158 drones sent overnight. This included drones over Moscow and the surrounding region, as well as the Kursk region, where Ukrainian forces have gone in recent weeks in the largest incursion on Russian soil since World War II. Since the beginning of the year, Ukraine has stepped up those aerial assaults on Russian soil, targeting refineries and oil terminals to slow down the Kremlin's assault. And on a similar note here, staying overseas in Germany, Germans taking to the street this weekend to protest their government's involvement in this Russia-Ukraine war. Take a look here. The protesters gathering to voice their opposition and calling for a peaceful solution to this conflict. Continue to follow both conflicts as they unfold. In the meantime, time now is 9:01. It's 63 degrees. And I'm Claire Mitchell. I'm happy you're here. Let's turn things over to First Alert meteorologist Dan Smith on this first day of September and Labor Day Eve. People want to know what is cooking outside so they can cook outside, right, Dan? Something new this morning. One person is dead after a crash in Michigan. The Monroe County Sheriff says Saturday around 10:30 p.m., Zachary Zelensky from Monroe was driving on South Stony Creek Road. He crossed the center line, lost control of the car and overcorrected it. Then that car flipped and hit a utility pole. The 32-year-old was pronounced dead at the scene, and police are saying this incident is under investigation, but they also say that careless driving is a factor in this crash and that Zelensky wasn't wearing a seatbelt. And new this hour, we are learning about an NFL player who's recovering in the hospital after being shot in the chest during an attempted robbery. Did you see this on social media? Fast forward, Toledo's police chief says this new policy change addresses that specific canine stop. And 13 Action News reporter Brenna Nye joins us live from outside the Toledo Police Safety Building with the new details on this. Brenna. All right, closer to home now in your crime and safety alert. Cleanup continues this morning after that massive tree fell onto a senior apartment building Saturday afternoon, trapping some of the people inside. Look at these images here. I mean, this is a massive tree. It's estimated to weigh around 70,000 pounds. Moving on to your health alert this morning, we turn to the mosquito mayhem as communities across the country are having to reorder their lives to keep out of the bug site and possibly stay alive. 13 Action News reporter Brenna Nye standing by live with the details on this. Brenna. Well, this week is Opioid Awareness Week, and it's a time to raise awareness and remember those lost to substance use disorders and addiction. This as the nation continues to grapple with the opioid crisis. Switching gears, very cool story here. At 99 years young, an Ohio woman from Monroe County is celebrating a long-awaited achievement. Georgia McGarry had to quit high school back in 1944 to help her family during World War II. She says times were tough and money was hard to come by. Something new this morning, a Lucas County judge lowering the bond set for a man accused of a fatal hit and run that killed a cyclist last month. Take a look here. Kenneth Pegler on your screen was taken into custody 6 days after allegedly hitting and killing Nicholas Reinhardt on Alexis Road in Toledo. Turn to Michigan now, where the state's paid sick leave law is changing early next year, and it will now cover employers and those employees. However, critics of this new act are worrying about how this could impact the small businesses down the line. Good morning, everybody, and welcome into 13 Action News this morning. I'm Claire Mitchell. Hey now, what do you think of this, huh? Happy Sunday, happy September, and Labor Day weekend. Now, we know that many of you consider this weekend to be the last unofficial weekend of summer. Hence why we queued up the autumnal landscape here. But actually, we have a little bit of time before the leaves and the trees start to look like this. But for all of you pumpkin spice and fall lovers, take it in. We're almost there. We're going to touch back on the fall season coming up here. But again, now as those students are heading back to the classroom, parents and educators are concerned about the declining literacy rates in the state. The number of Michigan third graders who are proficient in reading is at its lowest point since the state assessment test began about 10 years ago. Here's our sister station reporter, Caden Minus, with the details. It's quite a bit happening in space, actually. Here we go. I wanted to do my slow motion floating astronaut that everybody wanted to see. Hopefully it was worth it.
Right.
Would you be brave enough to wear a beard of bees? That is a question that has all the buzz at a Minnesota State Fair this week? I know my answer. Dan, what is yours?
You can tell I didn't see this story beforehand.
Neither did I.
10,000 honeybees, my goodness, placed on volunteers for the University of Minnesota Bee Lab's Bee Beard demonstration.
Say that 10
Suppose
times
we can
fast.
tell our news director back to take us the stinger. It's an annual tradition
Good
celebrating
one.
its 25th year.
Yeah, this is just a bit much for me. I don't know if there's any amount of money or prize that you could have me do this. So to have the bees come together, they actually place a queen bee in the cage on the volunteer's neck, which makes sense.
That's actually fascinating, though, the methodology on this.
I'm more fascinated by how calm they are. You would just see a stream of tears coming down my face and slow hyperventilation. But hey, that's what's going on in Minnesota. Quite a sight here. And here's what's to come at 9 o'clock this morning.